Hi everybody, welcome back to Joe Wednesdays. How's it going? What's new? I'm planning on talking about some gaming stuff today, but there will be topics outside of games involved in what I'm going to be talking about. So if you're not all that into the games, don't be alarmed. You're not going to be left out of the conversation. Um, but first, did you know that World of Warcraft accidentally modeled a pandemic scenario? So I saw this video like maybe Thursday or so last week, um, on the Game Theorist YouTube channel about how in 2005, um, the World of Warcraft game had a bug from a raid that they introduced into the game that caused pandemic conditions within the game itself. So let's see. Long story short, how do we sum this up? So there was a raid boss that would put on this debuff on your character, which would do, they call it a damage over time effect, or a dot for short. So it would do like 200 to 300 damage to your character every couple of seconds. But the interesting caveat to this particular debuff was that if you were around other players, you would spread it to those characters. So what you had to do in the fight itself was that, like, if you got the dot, you would have to like run farther away from your party so that you wouldn't get anybody else infected, and still manage to try to damage the boss until you killed him. Um, Normally what was supposed to happen is once you completed that dungeon, if you had that dot, once you left it and got put back into the outer world, that debuff would get cleared off your character. But the bug was that there's a hunter class in the game that had like a pet animal that would fight with you, and that dot would transfer to them as well. And the bug was that it didn't get cleared off your pet once you got put into the outer world. Um, so basically, what happened is any hunters that did that raid, they would get put back out in the world anywhere, like particularly in their major like cities. Um, the hunter would immediately get infected by their pet, and then they would immediately infect all the people around them, including like the players that were around them and the computer characters around them. And so basically, they created this like corrupted blood plague, and everybody was basically getting this dot. And like, if your character was like at the top level, like you could probably carry that debuff and not even notice that it was there. But if you started passing by like characters, level 10 and below, like 200 to 300 damage in every couple of seconds like kills you in seconds. Like, you can't do anything about it, you can't heal through it or anything. So um from a gamer's side perspective, it like, to see the results of that is kind of funny, because like they have like pictures of like just like the streets are just lined with these like bones of the people that died, because your character will die, that you leave a corpse, and to revive, you actually had to like run your ghost back to where you died to revive. But like every time you did that, there'd still be people around that had the debuff, so it would still kill you. Um, so like for a good like week or so, they had like thousands upon millions of people complaining about, like, I can't do anything in this game because this debuff is killing everybody. Um, so I like the video that I saw was actually about like how that kind of translates to current day, because the like CDC and like epidemiologists were like actually like reaching out to Blizzard like years after that thing happened, to like, we'd like to get your like simulation data of this. And and they're like, why would you want that? I mean, it was just a bug in the game, it has nothing to do with a virus, blah 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 blah. And it's like, but I was sitting there watching it, it's like it has everything to do with it, because like, yeah, obviously like you're not simulating like how a virus spreads, but you're definitely simulating how people transfer it to other people. Because I mean, like, just thinking of like, a gamer with no consequences, what are they going to do with the debuff? They're going to, purposely take it to where the newbies are so that they can, like, start killing them just for fun, or Some people like how does that information get disseminated from player to player? So it's like some people are going to be told, hey, you need to go to like the main capital right away because you should see what's going on there. So people are going to go there, and then they're going to get the virus and die, uh, and stuff like that. And but like when you kind of think about it, like that's kind of what happens with like an actual like virus. Like there are going to be people who take it very seriously. There are going to be people who don't take it seriously at all. You know, like yeah, how does that have real world applications? Like it's just a game, right? You know, you're not going to have like NBA players purposely like rubbing mics of a press conference before and then he gets, you know, a positive case of an infection 2 days later. That never happened. And you don't have like families running through a Target hall like a Target store like yelling about like masks are blah blah blah, they're not real, you don't need it, blah blah blah. You're not That's never gonna happen, right? um so like it's kind of interesting to hear like how an MMO and like a video game might have like actual world like applications of analysis for for pandemics. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that came up today, or like I should say later this week. Um, but then the other thing that came up today, or man, the other thing that happened this previous week, there we go, was that I successfully found and played through a Legend of Zelda randomizer. So there was a beginner's level setting that I could put it on, and like I was saying the last time I talked about it, like my major hangup was like players that I've watched do these run throughs like know how to like glitch the game and like really do stuff that like I have no idea how to manipulate the game code to let me do things that they're doing in there. But I found out that like there was a way to like roll the game in such a way that it would do like the item randomization without like you needing to like have it know any specific glitches to get through the game. So I was like, oh okay, well I'll try it if that's the case. And I was successful. So I like my objective was just getting to like 100% item collection or as near as I could to it. I certainly wasn't trying to do a speed run. I think the end result was like I got through it in like 7 hours. But I did get like 215 out of the 216 item grabs. So I'm calling that 100% because I probably just left out like a ruby grab or something like that. I'm calling that. But for people that do know the game, let me talk to you over here in camera two. Okay, I didn't get the Pegasus boots until halfway through the game, and I didn't get the mirror until Ganon's Tower. Ganon's Tower. So yeah, that's why it took me 7 hours. But anyway, so I was able to get through that, and I actually posted the first hour of gameplay on my channel already. But it kind of got me to thinking a little bit because I found myself about halfway through when I was getting stuck at I was missing an item basically that was preventing me from going forward. And I'm like, okay, like what do I do? And I found myself getting really frustrated, and I wasn't entirely sure why, but I was getting like really impatient with myself. I was really getting frustrated. There was probably, I'll probably include that stuff in the playthrough that I record. I'll probably leave that stuff in, so you'll probably hear it eventually if you see it. But and I was fighting the Turtle Rock boss with like only the level 2 sword, and like I didn't have the magic a half magic stuff, so it's like it was just it the items that I was missing made the fight really difficult, and like the fact that I kept dying, I was like, oh my god. I'm like I was just getting so worked up and so frustrated about it, and I didn't know why at first, but I when I was thinking about it, like since I was recording it, and since like I have the intention of putting it on my channel, I think I was starting to get really like self-conscious that oh my god, people are going to think I can't play this game, or people are going to think that I suck, or people are going to judge me for how well or not I'm playing this game, blah 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 blah. And like it kind of made me think like, okay, why would I even care? Like what, or why should I care, and that kind of thing. Um, which kind of made me think about the bigger picture. I mean, I'm sure this is no surprise to anybody listening, but I've been incredibly self-conscious for probably the majority of my life, like cripplingly so. Like I've probably talked myself out of doing things or trying stuff just purely because I've feared talked myself out of doing stuff, or I was afraid of failing publicly or that kind of thing. And I haven't quite known how to help myself through that kind of stuff. Like even having like casual conversations with people, like I get so like just worked up in my own head that I pull myself out of whoever I'm talking to. I pull myself out of that conversation because I'm just like I'm so worried that I'm going to, oh, if I misspeak, or if I say something wrong, or it's just a ridiculous Rolodex of different excuses as to why I shouldn't even be talking. Should like don't even open my mouth to say anything. Um, and I've been realizing that the stuff that I've been doing on my YouTube channel has been a tool that I've never used before to fight against that. So I'm ultimately like me getting frustrated with this game that I'm playing, and me thinking about why has ultimately led me to kind of being actually hopeful about combating my own insecurities and self-consciousness. Um, because like I was starting to say, like I have tools here, and like I've been learning like little bits of like video software editing, or like video editing and stuff like that. Like that, the learning those things is like equipping me with tools that I had never considered before as to like how to combat my like insecurities of talking with people. Like oh no, I'm interrupting them and they don't really care, they don't want blah 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 blah. It's like, well, okay, now I'm putting a video out there so I can say whatever I want to say, and if it's going to bother them or they don't care, well, they can just turn the video off. So I'm no longer interrupting them, so that excuse is wiped out. um I think a little bit like just doing this for as long as we have now, because we got to 10, right, Mitch? But like just doing these for, as long as we have helped me kind of at least practice talking, if anything else. So it's like, like I'm getting better at it, because I don't feel like I do it particularly well. Um, but if there's like if there's something that I'm like drastically messing up in some way, shape, or form, like I have the knowledge and capacity to edit it or correct it before I put it out publicly. So it's like, so that excuse is getting wiped out. And um yeah, so I don't know quite how to like wrap that up or whatever, but like I'm excited that I'm doing this stuff. And I mean, even if it's ultimately just for me, myself, and I, and maybe Ashley, because she likes watching the game stuff, like even if it's just doing it for myself, I'm excited that I'm doing it, and I want to keep doing it. So so you'll probably be seeing these at least for a good while. I don't know how long exactly we'll keep them up, but because I obviously, once the pandemic is finally settled, if it gets settled, hopefully, yeah. Um, but like once the new norm is figured out, like this might not be as necessary, but I may still just continue to do it just because it's been very beneficial for me. So I think I'll end there. So I love you guys. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.